Donald Trump made some comments yesterday that don't exactly jive with the Constitution, that he'll explain here. During an interview with the Miami Herald on Thursday, Trump was asked if he would push to get U.S. citizens accused of terrorism tried by military tribunals at Guantanamo Bay. Okay, this is the easiest softball down the center of the plate in human history. The question is basically, do you believe in the Constitution or fuck the Constitution with a trillion dicks? What's your answer? What is he takes a bait. Fuck the Constitution with a trillion dicks. Unbelievable. He said this, quote, "Well, I know that they want to try them in our regular court system, and I don't like that at all. I don't like that at all. I would say they could be tried there. That would be fine." Donald, you epic, legendary moron. The question was, would you push to get U.S. citizens accused of terrorism tried by military tribunals at Guantanamo Bay? Would you push to get U.S. citizens accused of terrorism tried by military tribunals at Guantanamo Bay? You said yes to that. You don't give a flying fuck about due process. You don't give a flying fuck about habeas corpus. Now, don't get me wrong. So it's not like George W. Bush and Dick Cheney do give a fuck about that. No, they don't give a fuck about that either. But understand the debate we had about them. It was a different debate. The debate was, enemy combatants who we pick up on the battlefield, who we then hold extrajudicially in Guantanamo Bay, do they, non-citizens of the United States of America, have a right to a fair hearing? Do they have a right to a trial? Now, they said their answer to that was no, they don't. But the crux of their argument was they're non-citizens. The U.S. citizens, obviously, they get a trial. But non-citizens, no, they don't get a trial because they're non-citizens. Now, I don't agree with that for a variety of reasons because, the Constitution lays out restrictions on government. So what that means is they're saying the government cannot prevent due process. So you have to have a trial, you have to have a hearing, even if they are non-citizens, okay? So I think they were wrong either way. But even the neocons admitted, well, no shit, when you talk about U.S. citizens, it's not a question as to whether or not they get a trial. That's the whole fucking point of the Constitution and having rights. The heart of the Constitution is due process, is giving people a right to a trial. And Trump's like, no. So think about the precedent that would set. I have declared and decided that person X, Y, and Z, they are terrorists, so now send them to Guantanamo. And if anything, you try them in front of a military tribunal there, but that's it. So they don't have the same rights. They don't have rights, period. So the government can just decide, I think you're a terrorist, and ship you to Gitmo. Now you go, well, hold on now. Don't they have to prove it? No, Trump is saying no, because you don't have a right to a trial. They don't have to prove dick. They could just declare, you are a terrorist, ship you out. That's his position. That's his position. No hearing, no trial, no, presentation of evidence. It's, I, the government, have decided you are a terrorist, even though you're a U.S. citizen. I don't have to present any evidence. Gone. You're in Gitmo now, and that's that. I wash my hands of it. It's over. And then imagine how politically toxic the environment becomes when people try to say, hey, let's bring them back in the U.S. How's that argument going right now? The Republicans fearmonger, like, oh, you want to bring Al-Qaeda into the U.S. Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to bring Al-Qaeda into the U.S.? Even though that's not true. Even though the overwhelming majority of people held at Gitmo were innocent. And we're talking about people here who are U.S. citizens who the government could just declare a terrorist and I'm going to ship you out. This guy is dangerous, man. He's dangerous. Because what this shows is, to him, the default position and the position is deep authoritarianism. To him, it's like, well, what do you mean? Yes, U.S. citizen, you just said they're terrorists, so yeah, send them to Guantanamo. What are you talking about? They don't understand that the process and having evidence shown and having checks and balances in the system, that this is what creates a civilized modern society. When you just have everything, okay, the whim, the gut of the leader ruling everything, that's fascism. That's, third world countries. That's classic unstable governments. It's amazing he doesn't get it, man. It's amazing. And furthermore, let's say for a second he said the other thing, which is, so forget U.S. citizens. Let's just say his argument was, yeah, non-citizens should be held at Guantanamo Bay. You have to understand why even that's stupid. We now know, based on extensive reporting, that the people who were shipped to Guantanamo Bay, it was from the Bush administration. They cut a deal with the Pakistani government and Afghan warlords to send us Al-Qaeda after 9/11. Now, I think that Dick Cheney thought, yeah, they'll send us Al-Qaeda. The neocons thought, yeah, they'll send us jihadists. But that's not what happened. The warlords rounded up people who they didn't like, who were their political enemies, and they shipped them to the U.S. and said, here's your Al-Qaeda. Give us our reward. Give us our money. So we held people in Guantanamo Bay who were totally innocent. They didn't do anything. They weren't affiliated with any terrorist movements. And the more time went by, the more they realized that, the more now the Obama administration has to slowly release these people and make deals with different governments. Because so many of them didn't do anything wrong. So this is the problem. This is why you need due process. It's not just for shits and giggles. It's to make sure we get it right. The same people who say don't trust the government with anything, suddenly when it comes to capturing terrorists, they're like, no matter who we capture, they are by definition terrorists, so we don't need a process to determine whether or not we're right or wrong. This is insanity, man.